And we are live back this time to discuss My Hero Academia Season 7, Episode 17. If you can't already tell, I just woke up from a nap, and boy, did that thing hit me like a Mack truck. Now, let's talk about everything that's about to hit the Todoroki family like a Mack truck. All right, guys, Brent here back with Geek Variants. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, MHA Season 7, Episode 17. And I'm still genuinely shocked with this season. This season has probably been, in my opinion, their strongest season they've had in, I can't even say how long. This season has been hitting from the word go. Very rarely has this season had anything that you would consider boring or subpar or disinteresting or didn't serve a purpose. Looking back through the episodes, because we started all the way back with episode 139 in the nick of time, we started with some big things from USA Heroes. We started going into more episode 142, 143, how we're starting to cover Deku and his growth as not only as a person, but as a hero in all of society. And we've been seeing continuously a string of new heroes stepping up almost each and every week. It's like starting with episode 146, we kind of got to see more of how Todoroki and Shoto was able to kind of move things up for himself. It kind of established himself as one of the premier big three new heroes. Between him, Bakugo, and Deku, you have a very, very bright future for what can happen for our heroes. Unfortunately, Bakugo was cut excessively short as he is currently, still dead because he ran into the most impossible villain to get rid of at this moment in time, right up early out the gate, all because Deku got grabbed by Toga. Himiko was able to make this thing work. She wasn't supposed to be someone that was going to be as big of an issue as she was, but ultimately she just goes yoink on Deku, and because Deku wasn't there, Bakugo was unable to succeed. Bakugo was put in a no-win situation. Anyone with any level of logic behind them would understand clearly it was a mismatch. Even with Shigaraki having his base power set and quirks locked all the way down, we were still left with basically a guy whose arm was not only growing, but it was eating up the entirety of the battlefield, moving around and spreading and taking out people who were top 10 heroes for not just a couple minutes, not just a couple days, but he was destroying so many powerful people. We had our bunny hero come in. She's a powerhouse. She's a freight train. She went one on one with Nomus and has survived. Gets absolutely blasted. We saw Hawks, not at this battlefield, but previously take on Shigaraki. Things didn't go so good for him either. Moving on to other heroes that have gone up against Shigaraki, you're just kind of looking at them like Best Genist could not get the job done. Edgeshot, same thing, could not get the job done. You're just kind of starting to see that even though we have a powerful hero society and we have people who are very, very high in the rankings, sometimes you're just not able to get the job done the way you ultimately would plan to because the hero set aside what I think was a great trap. It was a perfect time, place, and solution to offer to so many different villains. They had the battle plan perfectly figured out, and having Deku there with the squad that they had, they could have done something. I mean, putting Endeavor and Hawks to go 2v1 with All for One, bit of a bold strategy considering we've seen neither one can really even handle Nomus because Endeavor got, and I'm just going to put this bluntly, he got lucky in his situation. He was able to overpower one through sheer will alone. It wasn't necessarily like he was clear cut the best person or even had the most firepower. He had the ability to get, things heated just to a point where he was able to pull off the W. No, it was because of the society in which he was at that he was able to force things to go forward within a positive manner. And still, he didn't necessarily even swing society's goals or society's aims and beliefs in him because, well, his son Dobby had other plans. And Dobby is going to make this as personal as you could absolutely imagine. He has zero, and I mean zero, regards for anybody who's going to be caught in this counterfire. The fact that he was able to pull himself through using Kuragiri's quirk to go ahead and push his own agenda and push that battle forward, things are going to be wild in this episode. And episode 155 has just dropped on Crunchyroll. Be sure to give it a shout there, and we will start watching the episode. The episode is titled. Oh, I'm very excited to see overall what they do with this. The battles in this episode crazy because we're still seeing the aftermath of everything involving, you know, all the heroes and all of the villains shown thus far. Because seeing how many villains previously from Deku's interaction of him being a rogue hero, so to speak, has been absolutely insane. His power of friendship no jutsu has been an absolute hit, certified banger overall. And then there's a couple heroes who are literally basically B-list heroes for all intents and purposes, but have been able to have gargantuan moments, like having Lady Nagant in the battlefield. That was a crazy turn of events. Having her out there able to snipe and make things work, and then having Gentle come up the way that he did, I gotta say is absolutely crazy. Because he basically took that shot on Shigaraki from so far away. There's absolutely no way that anybody else would have been able to make that shot in this weather or in this situation. Is this necessarily the right call for Lady Nagant to go ahead and try and make these moments in time? Probably not. But is her heart definitively in the right place for the first time in who knows how long? Yes. Lady Nagant is back in the field doing incredible things to help save society. And she's trying to basically buy as much time to help ensure that Deku's going to get this job done. And now he's gonna have to basically find a way to get Shigaraki from ground level to way up there because the minute he just goes decay, that's it. Our whole plan, our whole coffin in the sky, going to fall apart in a massive, massive. Deku, king of recruiting for the heroes. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there right here, right now. And now the evil that is all for one is going to spill out, and we're going to see just how powerful he really is. His overwhelming power of hatred and vitriol of society, and everything else that has happened with Lady Shimura and that has happened with All Might is spilled and eaten the center and entirety of Shigaraki. So it's an absolute insane thing to see overall. This is My Hero Academia. Welcome in. We're continuously learning about Shigaraki and how his influence has been pushed forward in only so many terms. and so many acknowledgments that the little boy that was at the center of himself is no longer being used the way he wants to be used, but all for one has pushed himself into the spotlight to be the number one overall. Mm. And we're seeing that Kurigiri is having some insane flashbacks and struggling with everything that is going on inside of just their individual being. This battle so far in this episode is going to be highlighting the battle within the heart more so than like the physical battles, even though they will be taking place. We're getting a family battle. We're getting Shigaraki and Deku. Like My Hero Academia is kicking it up even further and even higher plus ultra than they had already been this season. I think they've done a fantastic job overall. Is having Kuragiri emotionally damaged as well as Shigaraki is an absolute insane thing to have happen. So we have the number one character overall in Deku versus the number one villain in Shigaraki going toe to toe, which is so crazy that Shigaraki has literally had several appendages just blown clean off, and people are going through an insane time that way. And having gentle villain show up and doing as much work as he absolutely can to save the hero society is wild because the first time you meet gentle, you just like, no, this isn't going to be someone that is going to have a huge factor in anything. His quirk is weird, it's bizarre. Elasticity, he's going to hold up a giant floating island of a school that was supposed to be basically this battle cage to hold in and contain Shigaraki. No, 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 no. There's going to be nothing to even do or concern ourselves with. But ultimately, here we are. Gentle, Lady Nagant, amongst others, been properly recruited by Deku, brought into the fold, and now we're kind of pushing things to an absolute better. And then everyone is kind of like taking a look at Gentle, be like, "Who the heck even is this guy? I've never really milked for this." And Gentle, being the private individual that he is just shy about being put into the spotlight because, well, let's just put things into perspective. He's been a villain his whole life, and all he ever wanted to be was in the spotlight. But now that he's in the spotlight and everyone only knows him as a bad individual, he's like, I want nothing to do with cameras or flash photography. But because these kids have cell phones, they are basically showing him in a whole entirely new light. And he's shocked that UA is even giving him a chance to be shown this way, considering the dastardly and devious plot that he has had against the school for who knows how long. But he is being changed rapidly, and how everything else is going on is insane. But again, they're stuck within an electromagnetic barrier, so how much of this is actually able to get through is going to be very, very interesting overall. Because we have an outside hacker who says, "Yep, everything's good to go." It's like I'm gonna make sure I get the feed up for Gentle so that everyone can see the heart he truly has and how apologetic he is about the mistakes he's made with his life. Now he wants to better this entire world. So Gentle and La Brava are making things work beautifully. And Kuragiri is in an absolute state of shock because all of his heroes, all of his friends from previous times are now starting to see that, you know, some key players are getting absolutely just ravaged in certain moments in time. And Kuragiri has now just fought back against his master's plan, so to speak. He has literally saw that Present Mike and Eraserhead were falling basically to their deaths, and he goes, "Boom! I got a portal for you." and takes them completely out of this moment in time. So he saved his two best friends from his childhood. So people were like, "Yeah, he's still in there. We're gonna do everything we can to find him." Clearly, they were spitting. They were talking facts. They were on the right track, ensuring that he would be able to ensure the safety of his friends. Was it Mike? And then we had Eraserhead. I'm taking notes as well, so if you hear me make another point as possible, whenever I do the review, I want to make sure I have as much information in front of me as possible, so it's as accurate as it's going to be, so someone who hasn't seen the episode before can kind of follow along and track with how things are going as we cover each and every step together. And now we have All for One basically flying like some evil deity because I don't even see his legs floating in there. So that he's trying to ensure that he goes from the evolution of demon. There his legs are. I was gonna say, will Hawks be enough to go after him? So we'll see how that goes. 'Cause that is a huge mismatch. All for One should have Hawks down in two snaps, so to speak. The power levels are entirely different and on a whole new playing field overall. Mm. It's like he's been running around flying, wielding the sword for a good while now. The only person that's actually managed to do anything against was, you know, twice, and now it looks like we have that mismatch kind of associated rather firmly. That is an interesting shot. What the heck was all of that? And people were so concerned. Oh, super, super bizarre power. She was able to form a shield around Hawks and save him from being absolutely just eviscerated by basically a palm blast of air that otherwise would have eviscerated everything because we're still dealing with Toga's powers. That is the army of twice is going absolutely ape on everybody. But yeah, Cammy, Otsuchini, and we've seen Kimetsu High and well, Shiketsu High, I should say properly. Shiketsu is showing up in a big way because you kind of forgot that they existed because we had like the whole school exchange thing for the hero course, trying to make sure everyone was able to get the job done. And everyone had this intense rivalry between the best school and the second best school. And then ultimately, we kind of had to see where things fell in that regard. And we've been focusing so much on class 1A, we basically forgot it even existed. Now we're seeing this army of twice being absolutely just yeeted into the stratosphere. As Shiketsu has been showing up at a fantastic time, which will put a huge burden overall on their plan and how they're expecting to make things go well together. I don't know who was able to get a hold of them and put them in this battlefield, but I don't know why we didn't automatically start with that moment in time. And he's going once more we have All for One kind of going ahead and stealing other people's quirks to try and manifest things that he can have going on because he's just basically going to continue to evolve and push himself into new and insane heights because okay, that's huge. That is a giant fireball of doom and destruction, the likes of which we should not be seeing at this moment in time. Because he's just as he's able to throw back the clock, he's going to do an absolute insane job because now we're starting to see what All Might was dealing with on the regular. And you're like, oh, no wonder he retired early, trying to go up against someone who's basically a demon lord in no uncertain terms is not for the faint of heart. The demon lord is going off in a big way. We're having a family battle still going on, even though that's why I wish we were focusing our attention. I want to see Dobby fight Endeavor, and I want it to be personal. I want it to be drawn out. I want it to be a slugfest and just the absolute craziest fight you've seen, but we're focusing right now more on All for One because with Shigaraki's emergence, we're seeing how he's slowly being pushed away, even though his mindset, his influence, his darkness infested Shigaraki and made things as insane as possible. And now we're seeing the bozo from Shiketsu High was like, "Yeah, I don't care who you are. We learned about you in history class. I'm going to spiral you out of here so I can go ahead and save my friends." You know how insulting it would be to be on a battlefield, like absolutely wrecking shop, and then if someone just like, you know what, I only learned about you in history class, you old geezer, and then just start shooting you with a wind tunnel. So it's like that is absolutely wild as far as insults are concerned. Because now there's reverberations being sent back because All for One is just too obstinate and too stubborn to go ahead and give this any other thought whatsoever than ensuring his plan success. And now Hawks is going to have to be making sure everything working and being able to be the one to ram his sword through All for One's heart if they're going to have any chance of making this work. But he's going to need some serious backup because right now all the heroes' hearts are all tracking in the exact same place together. And then even All for One is tracking Hawks' eyes, and he's like, "Oh, okay." He is of a single mindset, a single vision to go ahead and push forward. And like he's basically seeing through me. He already seeing the mission succeed, even though I am presently floating in the sky right here, causing a giant fireball of doom and destruction for everybody. So, but he kind of made a massive mistake in the fact he assumed that the darkness that was within Class 1A that has been hanging out with one of our heroes has now basically manifested itself as a giant dark bird about to devour, our resident villain because he's like, I am the darkness, I am the evil, and wait a minute, that's not me. What is that? What's going on back there? Someone get a license for this thing? We have an insane bird floating in the sky trying to go ahead and take me out, and now I can't focus my attention both here and here simultaneously. This guy's trying to stab me with the sword. This guy is trying to shoot me with a wind tunnel, and this guy is trying to eat me as a giant bird and just basically use dark shadow as the absolute most insane thing that you've seen. So Tokuyami is ready to go in and deliver in space right now. That is wild to see, like, how many different quirks are manifesting together and pushing through this series of events is crazy. This is a team up you thought you would never see. Because so many people have been rooting for Tokuyami and Dark Shadow to, like, do something, and the fact that they were just able to go ahead and one punch All for One directly out of the sky is wild. But yo, this episode having a moment in time where the credits are dropping at 19 minutes in. Okay, there we go. There's a part two to it. Good, good, good. It's like, why in the world would you do a blind bluff like that on your episode when there's still a lot to discuss with the episode overall? There's another 3 minutes that they had post credits just for everyone to be aware of. I want to make sure that everyone else misses out because I almost clicked out of the video, but I was like, 3 minutes left. Dropping the credits in the position that they didn't necessarily make coherent sense. My Hero Academia hasn't really been a show where they have been baiting you and switching you or changing it up on you. So for them to try and do it now would have been absolutely asinine, in my opinion. We're seeing that we have Froppy, we have Ochaku, who's basically running to go ahead and figure out where they can find Toga and put a stop to her If you can stop her and everything involving the army of twice, we should have a significant change to affect all of this society that they have overall because there's only five really main players for the villains. We have Dabi, Toga twice, Shigaraki, and all for one. But now that Toga has been kind of isolated, if you're able to resonate with her heart, even just for a moment, you'll pull off a huge upset and be able to get her to stop focusing on this army, and the heroes can finally start overwhelming because right now they're just being defeated by sheer numbers. So we're gonna have the battle we've all been waiting for between Toga and Ochaku because that moment has been going on for a minute now. Because Dobby was just straight up like, "Yep, if you're depressed, if you're feeling sad, if you're not happy, use your quirk called the Army of Despair. Use it to the absolute fullest that you can. Push everything forward. Make sure the society and the world sees what is truly going on deep within your heart. We need you to succeed in this plan," which Dobby doesn't say very often, let alone actually verbalize something like this because Dobby is so wrapped up in his own scheme for just revenge and putting his family name to the absolute mud because of what happened to him. And I do not blame him in most or any capacities for it. But at the same time, will he succeed is our main question. And there we go. The preview for next episode looks like it's even going to be more action packed than this one was. The heroes are going to have to pull off all the stops. It looks like we're getting a plethora of characters in which we haven't seen really step up in a long, long time. But again, it looks like Gigantomachia has broken free in the next episode and is going to be wrecking shop. So that's going to be a gargantuan problem, so to speak. He is someone that you don't mess with. He's someone you don't joke with. There was a reason the heroes were so keen on putting him out and making sure he wasn't part of the evil picture, so to speak. Moving on. But that is the episode overall. I think right now, if I had to rate it, six, it'd be a 7.8 out of 10. It was a good episode overall. It felt a little weird because of the false ending that they had happen. I don't know why you go about doing that. I don't know if it was just a editing mistake overall to have it drop 4 minutes before the actual end preview and having all the weird little because like that was essential for the episode. It should have been clearly before the end. It doesn't seem like something that a studio as prestigious as Bones would make, but for all intents and purposes, it looks like the mistake was made. And again, friendly reminder for those who do watch the episode either on Crunchyroll or Hulu or your desired platform, whatever your country may be, that there is 3 minutes after the initial ending trailer. So go ahead and make sure not to miss those minutes. It covers a lot more of just the emotional things going on following Ochaku and Toga and how Toga is struggling to truly manifest herself as twice. And she's like, I'm able to do so many things. I'm able to push myself forward in only so many regards. But at the end of the day, it looks genuinely like I am struggling to manifest his power. Excuse me. And I've never really had this issue before. Toga has always been able to fully transform into who she wanted to be and able to manifest her powers as she saw fit, regardless of anything else going on. But the fact that she's not able to manifest twice is starting to show that she's having some insane issues pertaining to either her heart or where her mind's at, or a myriad of the two put together. That being said, if your heart and your mind's at the right spot, be sure to hit that love and red subscribe button. Greatly helps the channel out if you love the content here today. We're doing tons of live streams, especially next week, because we're going to be covering Agatha all along on Wednesday at 9 Eastern Standard Time. Rings of Power will be have our continued coverage at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time that same night. And then morning. And then on the very next day, we'll be having the episode of The Penguin we'll be covering as well at 9 Eastern Standard Time next Thursday. Be sure to be subscribed for all of that good content. We'll be either over on YouTube or on Twitch, both again, either being subscribed or following. It's entirely free. Use whichever one you are most comfortable with. Greatly appreciate you coming along on our journey with us, the Geek Variants. I'm Brett for Geek Variants. Another solid episode from My Hero Academia, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a good night, folks.